If you want your sim to look this good, but run like this, then please just watch the video, follow the steps, and hopefully your sim can look like this as well. All right, hello and welcome everybody back to the video. I'm your Sim CFI and I really appreciate all you guys stopping by. If you're having performance problems in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, this is for you. If you like it, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And in the description, you'll find a ton of discount codes for things like Pimax VR headsets, Contra Up Shop, and a lot more. So guys, without further ado, let's get into it now. Okay, before we start talking about anything in our settings, I want to make sure that we have a few things covered. First thing, you got to make sure that your Nvidia graphics drivers, or if you're using a different graphics card, then your graphics drivers are to the most up-to-date version they can be at. It's usually good practice. Once that's been done, we can continue. You can also update your graphics driver mainly with the Nvidia app for Nvidia users. Now, something I also want to clarify before we begin as well, I'm on Sim Update Beta 5, which means I'm not on the regular edition of Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. I'm on the beta version. You can get to the beta version if you have the, like me, if you have it through the Microsoft Store, through the Xbox app, through the Xbox Insider app, you'll have to download this. Once you have it downloaded, you press the previews on the left, Microsoft, and then press join. This is for 2020, as I'm already in the 2024 one down here. I've already joined it. You can also go to the beta if you don't have the Xbox version through Steam. Just right-click your game, properties, betas, I believe, and then you can opt into the beta. That's as easy as that. Next, before we begin, you want to make sure that you have cleared your Nvidia cache if you haven't done it in a while. So be sure to do that. You can do that with Easy Gamer Utility if you'd like, or just manually find the folders and delete them yourself. But it's as easy as pressing clean and it clears the files for you. Before we begin, this will be the easiest way to have a fresh system on the Nvidia side of things. Okay, lastly, before we begin as well, look up disk cleanup in your Windows menu here. And we're going to clear the C drive out. I've already done mine, so I'm not going to do it today. But you press OK. You'd click all the files that you'd want to clear. I have them all clicked. And then I press OK, and that gets rid of everything as well. And now we can begin with the settings I use. All right, so we're first going to focus on the things that we can do out of the sim. And the first thing I'm going to draw your attention to is the one that everyone should already have set, and that's their Nvidia Profile, their Nvidia Control Panel settings. The first thing we'll do is press Adjust Video Color Settings. Make sure it's set to Nvidia, Advanced, and Full. And then you can press Apply. From there, you'll press Manage 3D Settings. You're going to press Program Settings. Find Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. If it's not there, you can press Add. Wait for the pop-up. Find it in here. If it's still not in here, you can press Browse. Locate your game, which is mine on my D drive, Xbox, Microsoft, Content, and then use the game launch helper, not the actual one here. Anyways, once you have it set up, you're going to just verify the low latency mode to ultra. And then you have your power management mode set to max performance. That's basically about it in here. You can follow these other two. Should it be set to quality, and you can try linear optimization, but I'm more testing with this. For this tutorial, we'll just say maximum performance and ultra. Next, you're going to want your Nvidia Profile Inspector. This you'll have to download off Google as well. And the main thing in this one is rebar. So what we're going to do is going to go up to the top here. I'm going to type Microsoft, or just kind of close, MicroWorks. Scroll down. You'll find Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And we're going to go to section 5. So 2, 3, 4, and 5 is common. You're going to find where it says rebar enable. Most people are going to tell you to have this enabled. However, I have mine disabled. The reason for this is on the 5080 card, I'm more than capable of getting 90 FPS with FrameGen with this disabled. And what this does when it's enabled is it does give me 20 frames more, but it uses significantly more VRAM to do that. So I have this disabled on my 5080 card, which gives me a lot more VRAM headroom. So I don't get those annoying resource exceeds GPU mem and all that kind of stuff while I'm flying. And I'm able to still run 90 FPS with higher settings. So I keep this off. And then you press apply at the top right corner and you can close that. Next thing I run is quick CPU. You do not have to run this, but I do. This is quick CPU here. And basically what I tell it is I want to run, I found that the core parking number 4 setting works well. And then down here, I have it set to prefer max performance, performance cores, processor cores. So it's going to mainly prefer the P cores of my CPU. I found that if I don't have this set, I get a lot more stuttering in the sim. I get a lot of stutter, even though my frames are high, moving the view around gives me stutters. By having this set to the CPU cores, or the P cores, sorry, we'll get a much smoother experience. You can achieve the same thing with Process Lasso, but this one's a little simpler. And then we get high performance on the power plan as well. That just runs in the background. Lastly, you're going to want to install Auto FPS. And it looks a little like this. And the way I have it set up is I have it in the most up-to-date version with the beta test functions on. So I'm on 4.6.8. I have Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 clicked. And then I have my set to Auto TLOD, the minimum of 80, the maximum was 60. So until 3,000 feet, I'll be at 80. And then after 4,000 feet, I'll be starting to go past up to 160. And same thing with the Auto LOD, which is it's clicked as well. I have it set to 100 till 2,000 feet and then 200 until 5,000 feet. So this will scale the TLOD and OLOD. This is a huge performance hitter for me. And it's very CPU intensive. So you can play with this as you like, but these settings work well for me. You can probably even get away with 100 here, but I like to do 80 just for a little less stuttering if possible. That's it. We can go ahead and fire up the game and I'll show you my in-game settings. Okay, one of the last tools you guys are going to need before we hop in the sim is the DLSS swapper. Now, I'm on the most current version of the graphics drivers for the 5080 series. So if I click Microsoft 2024 over here, we will have 310.6. That's the newest version of DLSS. You're going to want to make sure you change that to the most newest version for DLSS frame generation as well. And lastly, the DLSS preset. Some people tell you to go to M or whatever. I just leave on NVIDIA recommended. I find that M for some reason looks a bit blurry, but feel free to try any of these and go for it. You can look up online which each one does as well. So be sure to take a look at that and make sure that is all set for yourself. Now we can go ahead and hop into the simulator. Now looking at the sim, what I want you to do at the very first thing is I want you to come over here to your graphics settings, turn your max frame rate off, and turn your DLSS from frame gen to none. Okay? The first thing I want you to do, also turn off your VSync. Next thing, we're going to try to be using TAA mode today. Try your best to get the performance to work in TAA and not these two. These will give you better performance most likely. However, what these are going to do is going to downscale your image and then use AI to rescale them back up. And we want to have TAA basically all the time, if you can. If you're on older hardware or not as good hardware, then you can use these. I would use DLSS if you have an Nvidia graphics card. DLSS on balanced or performance should work out just fine for you. Anyways, TAA, max frame rate off, frame gen off. And we're going to do this because I want you to test your own PC of what you're getting in your sim just with no frame gen, okay? Next, these are my settings here. This is Sim Update Beta 5. On the ground, this will be set to 80, and this would be set to 100. Remember, we're using auto FPS right now, and we're currently in the air. We're currently at 3,700 feet. So auto FPS is automatically scaled up our values. So you shouldn't have to touch these as you've already set auto FPS. So don't touch those two. Next, our off screen train pre-caching, I've set to high. I find this is quite VRAM heavy, and I don't see a difference with high or ultra, so high should be fine. Displacement mapping off. Mediums across the board, except for rocks, I don't care, so I put low. Again, don't touch your object level detail. That's done by auto FPS. Volumetric clouds to high. I don't see a difference between high and ultra, but I do see a significant performance, about 6 to 8 frames from ultra. Texture resolution high. If you're having VRAM problems, if I come to the side here, you guys can see On the bottom here, it says GPU mem. We're at 8 out of 15 in the menu screen when we're actually flying probably around 10,000 megs. But if this number is going yellow or red for you, this is going to be the main culprit. Bring this down to medium or low. All this actually affects is the in-game, the in-flight deck cockpit textures, not the external textures or anything. Just the cockpit textures is what I've been told. 16 times always. I'll move you back. Water waves I have high. I don't really see a big visual difference, to be honest. So you'll probably be fine with medium as well, and it should be more than fine for you. Ray trace shadows off for me is a huge killer. If you're running a 4090 or 5090, you should be able to run this, but on a 5080 or anything else other like that, then you're going to want those off. I just find I don't get the max performance at a constant 90 that I can hold with it off. Shadow maps 2048, terrain shadows got 1024. Honestly, 512 is fine too. If you're making content like recordings, you're going to probably want these set like this, or even ray tracing on. But flying around 512, you're not going to be looking at the terrain shadows a whole lot. Down here, mediums across the board is fine for me. The only ones that really do a significant impact, light shafts, I find are pretty heavy hitters. The reflections are heavy hitters, and when it's really raining out, the windshield effects, if you have it on high, I find is a pretty heavy hit as well. But mediums across the board, you won't really tell a big difference visually, and your PC will thank you. Depth of field off unless you're taking screenshots and stuff. You might want that on. Motion blur off. Don't care. Visual effects particle. This is new for Sim Update Beta 5. I have it set to low. Refresh rate high. You can probably get away with medium, to be honest, as well. Everything else below this setting is all off or low, as low as it can possibly go, except for road traffic. I have set to low. It could be off, but I'll have a little bit of road traffic. And that's it. Those are the settings. Now, remember, I said keep the, if we press apply, keep the frame gen off and the max frame rate off just as a test. We're going to come back and turn it on, but just as a test, keep it off. I'm going to press save and exit. And I just want you to see, as you're flying around, what FPS are you getting here at the top right? Right now, I'm actually holding a steady, it's pretty good. We're 60, 65 FPS. We got greens across the board. Our GPU MEM's only at 8.9 out of 15 gigs available. So we are good. It's actually, with no frame gen, it's pretty smooth. So what I'm going to do here is notice we're at 60. Now, what you can do is go ahead and turn on DLSS frame generation here. If you don't have this option, you can use AMD FSR 3. If you don't have an Nvidia card, that is, or a newer one, and if you don't have, if you don't want to use AMD, you can use something called lossless scaling. It's about $9 on Steam, and you can have frame gen that way. But with a 50 or 40 series cards, you should be able to get Nvidia DLSS, which will be the best option. For all your 50 series card holders, you guys can go ×3, ×4, and all that. But honestly, ×2 is where it's at. ×3 or 4 will increase VRAM quite a bit, and you start to get a lot of blurring and stuff, okay? So we'll just do ×2. Now we're going to go back in the sim and see what we get. It should basically take my FPS and times it by 2. But notice it actually hasn't. 60 × 2 is 120. We're only getting 100, so there's somewhere being lost performance, and our main thread's not really, it's in the yellows now. It's still butter smooth, don't get me wrong. It's still beautiful to look at. And you can change views and it stays good. So you can leave it like this for sure. But sometimes I find it really helps in recordings or in streams to have stable content. So what I do is I actually lock my FPS. I tell the computer, I want you to hold a solid 45 FPS. And now we should be in the 90s. Everything's pretty much green, yellow, kind of sticking around. I should mention this is an Amsterdam scenery that's not meant for 2024, so we're going to turn away from that. It's probably causing some more problems. That's Fly Tampa's Amsterdam meant for 2020, but I have it in the sim anyways. But as you can see, we're keeping a pretty solid performance. Everything is nice and smooth. I have been told if you do lock frame rate with frame gen, you might see some ghosting or stutters. I don't really see it, but if you do, just simply go back to settings and turn max frame rate back off. Okay, so That's my little trick. Now, if you can't do that, or for some whatever reason it's not working for you, a last 50 series card trick that you could try, you might see some lack of visuals, is leave it at 30, but put this to ×3. Now you're at 90 technically, is what FrameGen is going to show you. And you can see we're at a constant 90 right there. And it's still smooth. You just might see on the textures, it might look a little blurrier in some cases. It actually doesn't look all that bad on my end, so that is a solution for you as well. But the VRAM does go up a little bit, so I prefer to have this set to 45 and then ×2. That's what I like to do. You can have it off or on, up to you, whatever you like to do. I find it's more constant, less stutters with this locked for me. Last thing, dynamic settings. Do not touch this. People touch this. They'll set all their settings to ultra, 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 ultra everywhere. Then they'll come over here and they'll touch this to dynamic settings and turn it on. And they think they're at ultra, but they're not. Clicking this dynamic settings and setting your target frame, this allows Microsoft Flight Sim to change your settings on the fly, no pun intended, to whatever it wants to give you the targeted frame rate that you've told it to. And you might see terrain blur, trees not loading in properly, blocky textures, all that kind of stuff. The performance will be fantastic. So if you're really struggling, use this. But if you have a decent PC, you know, a 4070 Ti and up, you shouldn't really need to use that. Alrighty. So now we're locked at 45 FPS. When we use FrameGen, that equals 90. You can see I'm unclicked out of my window, but if I click back in, it comes back with FrameGen. And we're all nice and smooth. I can change my views around. Everything is beautiful. And we're taking a couple hits, but it'll come back to the 90 FPS that we're at there. And that's it for the performance in the sim. The last thing of how I make my sim look good, and this is not required, but I just like to have it, is something called Reshade. Reshade is a tool that just puts filters over the screen. I'm going to go ahead and turn the Reshade filters off. And I'll do it from, we'll do it from this view. You tell me if you like it or don't like it. And if you don't like it, just don't install it. But I'm going to turn them off. Okay, and I'm going to turn them back on. Same thing, I'm going to go back outside. We're going to turn the Reshade filters off. Still looks good, obviously. Then we're going to turn them back on. So I personally like the depth of color and the clarity that Reshade brings. I will post my settings in the Discord that I have, so just join the Discord in the description. I initially used the roll flyby preset, but I've tweaked it on my own, made my own settings to the temperature of the color and all that kind of stuff. So I personally like using Reshade. Anyways, guys, that'll be it for me. And hope this helps your simulator experience and makes Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 a better experience for you. And yeah, let me know in the comments if this worked. Please check out all the links and the discount codes down in the description. There's tons of stuff you guys can save money on down there. And we will see you in the next video or stream. Have a good one.